Today, I think I'll tell you about Ellie, all about Ellie's story. It's been about 10 going on 11 years since I got Ellie girl. And we got her in Sevierville, Tennessee. I was with my husband then before he passed. And I already had 2 dogs. I had Baby, which I will talk about in a later video, and Tazzy, which you've seen, but he's passed. And I had helped at a rescue the whole time. This is it was in Sevierville. It was a small rescue. Well, of course, there's no small ones because people start giving you dogs left and right. And it needed a bigger place. They had rented, the rescue had rented an old, used to be a vet hospital, but it was falling apart. It was in bad shape. And they were trying to, use that because it already had some cages and stuff. But the thing was, they decided to sell it. And when they decided to sell it, these animals and the volunteers and everybody had nowhere to go, what to do with the dogs or anything. So we started looking for a new place. We started looking for a new place to put the dogs. And the owner, or the woman that started the rescue, had looked at one about 10 miles out of town, and it was just like a shed or something, but they could put cages and everything in it, and they thought that might work. But I knew that, that far out of town, the little town that it is, not going to get a whole lot of people to come and look at them. So I started hunting, and right within a half a mile of where she had her, she had a boarding kennel and a grooming shop and, everything there, really nice one. And there was a house that went up for sale, a big brick house on the hill about a half a mile away from her. And because of that, we checked into it and could afford it. So we ended up buying that. And it needed cleanup. It hadn't been lived in for a long time, outside and inside. It had like 2 acres and everything. So my husband and I and a lot of other volunteers started taking the wood and the pieces of rot and all the stuff that was around the house and loading it up in one big pile, and we burned it and took weeds and just cleaned it up. I had old tires and you name it, had a little of everything there. But we spent days cleaning it up and getting the inside straightened out and ready. And then they had the money, they got volunteers and money, which I did a lot of that myself. I'm very good, and it's not a brag, I'm just good at it, of getting people to give things so we can sell them at a silent auction and have a dinner and everything to try to make the money. And we had it at that place. And I got probably, I don't know, $10,000 worth of different things. There's a lot of artists and little shops and everything it's Sevierville, Gatlinburg, and Pigeon Forge. And I went through all 3 towns. They're all attached. It's like you run into one and another. Gatlinburg's through a area that's beautiful, that's probably about 5 miles away from the other, but it's all so close. And so I ended up getting, as well as some of the others got some things, but I had loaded them up. They couldn't believe how much I got. If I can't get it, I shame people into giving it to me. Showing pictures of the puppy dogs with nowhere to go, and just one thing, this tacks right off and everything. And I got paintings, I got sculptures, I got I don't know, you name it, everything you can think of. From pottery, watercolors, dinners, flowers, gift baskets, absolutely everything you can think of. So what I did is we had a big dinner in a silent auction, and we got quite a bit of money, and people, you know, instead of giving $20 for something that they won, they gave $100 or $200 or whatever, and had enough to start building the cages and putting the concrete down for them, and, you know, just doing everything we could for them. And after about a year of this going on and all of us helping and everything, I had, like I said, Baby and Tazzy, and they were both Yorkies. But I'll take anything. I don't care if it's a Yorkie or a cat or, you know, a German Shepherd or whatever. If it, oops, okay, I'm messing up. If it needs a home, I will take it. And so the lady, Lori, that was running the place, that had started it, it was her rescue, called me one day and said, Sherry, there's a lady that's called me and she's crying. Her daughter is dying of cancer, and she has her little dog, and she knows that she's going to have to put it in a shelter or something, and it's not one that's going to be adopted easily, because you open a door and she takes off, and you have to run her down. She just runs and runs and runs, and they said, no one's going to put up with it. And we know you have Yorkies, and I was wondering if you'd give her a chance. Well, next thing I know, I'm meeting the lady at a Walmart in Sevierville, and here's this, she's called a Brian Yorkie or a Party Yorkie, and they're supposed to be real, most of them are tiny and, you know, weigh 7 pounds, and here she is like a mutant dog. And I said, okay. So when I loaded her up, her 2 little kids, she loved these 2 little kids so much, and they were standing there with her, and they said that she had been their dog, and the lady, the husband of the lady that was dying, hated the mother-in-law that was staying with him and taking care of him, and also didn't like the dog, this dog. So they had a German Shepherd and they had a pit bull in their backyard. And for fun, when she was gone, the grandmother was gone visiting her daughter or buying groceries or whatever she was doing, the son-in-law would throw the dog out in the backyard where the 2 pit bull and German Shepherd was, and they would try to kill it. Well, they thought it was a real funny thing he did to see if he could make it back inside before the 2 big dogs attacked her. And that's how she spent her life until the grandmother said she can't, she's gonna get killed, they're gonna let her die. And so next thing I know, I'm picking up the dog and trying to save its life. And she was the saddest dog you ever seen in your life. She loved those kids, and she loved the lady, the grandmother. And every day when we had her in the house, she wouldn't mess with us. She wouldn't hardly look at us. But she did eat and she did drink and everything till about 5 o'clock at night. Now that's when the grandmother would come home and the kids would come home from wherever they were at the old house. And she would jump up on the back of a lazy boy chair where my husband was sitting and stare out the window, and she would cry. And I mean, she cried. She whimpered, she cried, tears would come out of her eyes. for at least a year she did that. She wouldn't really have anything to do with us. But every day, about 5 o'clock, she'd climb up on the back of that chair and look out that window waiting for him to come and get her, which of course never happened. And it was a sad thing to see. She just cried, her little eyes out. And if we took her for a walk, she would hear kids and she would just flip out. Oh my goodness, she had to get to them because that was her kids. There they were, but of course it wasn't. So she had a very rough time for quite a while with us. Now, she got out more than once. She could slip between my legs, my husband's legs. If we opened the door a tiny bit, that dog was out and she was gone. And we would have to chase her and get the car out and try to catch her. And there was, because it was a side road, thank God, there was more than one person that would block her off in their car, and I'd be behind in the other car, and they'd jump out and grab her because they knew that I was trying to get my dog. And we'd get her and haul her back home, and I kept thinking, I've got to get rid of her. She is just so much to handle. Maybe I can find her a good home with a big fence or something. I tried it one time, and the people said, she won't have anything to do with this. She doesn't want it. All she does is sit in the chair and almost cry and everything. We can't handle her. So I got her back again. And I've had her here in Vegas, the big highway going from Vegas to LA is thousands of cars a day come by. And as we were going one time, we were in our motorhome at that time, and my daddy, which was getting dementia, was in it, and I'd going out, we were on the side of the road for some reason, looking at the tire or something, and my daddy opened the door. She took off, running down the middle of a freeway, Highway 15, at night with tons of cars. I went, oh my God. So I'm running in the middle of the freeway, trying to stop cars, trying to get her to stop, thinking we're both gonna die. And finally I caught her, got her back in, and it's happened until about a year ago. You had to watch everything you did. And she would try to attack any dog she saw because that's how she lived for a year or so. You know, those dogs trying to kill her, so if she saw a dog, she had to fight back real good. So she did that too. So every time I took her for a walk, she would find any little dog and she'd try to jump at it, and big dog, it didn't matter. She was gonna kill it. So I could never stand and talk to anybody I met or anything else. I was just trying to keep her from attacking the other dogs. And I mean, she didn't barely attack, she meant it. And I had to jerk her off and everything. And if anybody had their dogs loose, well, they would run up to her. And I'd go, get him, get him. She's not a nice dog. Oh, but mine's nice. And I go, you don't understand. And man, I was pulling her backwards and trying to get her to stop trying to kill him. But now that last year, since she's got older, everything, she's finally quit that. And she's got a lot better. And she quit crying about a year later. So this is kind of telling you how I got Ellie. Ellie, look at Mama. Such a good girl. She's a good girl. She just had a rough life like most of these little rescues. And now she's mine, and I love her. And I hope that you enjoyed the story and understood how I ended up with this pretty little girl. But I'll let you go now. And please adopt. Don't shop. And if you could, subscribe, share, comment, and like. And I will see you in the next one.